Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Game Design Archive with Edward and Ludwig.
Hello.
Hello, Ludwig. What are we talking about today, Ludwig?
Today we're discussing a quote as old as time. Not really, but it's the mindset that if you have like a really good game that you really love, that's like legendary status inside your mind. What you'll often see is a lot of people will say, "Oh damn, I really wish I could forget that game in order to experience it for the first time again." Right?
Yeah.
And I guess we're here to say that this is maybe a bit of a shallow viewpoint to have.
Yeah, but it
Or
might actually
mindset.
be correct in regards to what games they're applied, like it's applied to. But I'm not sure,
That is
right?
true.
Because
Yes.
when I'm thinking of that, it's like big open world games and story games that are not actually
Yeah.
that deep. It's mostly like
Yeah.
immersion stuff, right?
That's true. You see it the most about like The Witcher 3 or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
I'm
Uh,
not. I there probably is someone, but I haven't seen that many shmup players, for example, say that. Man, I
mhm.
wish I could forget Mushime-sama or something, right?
Yeah.
So I could experience it again for the first time. It's like, fuck no, I need to learn everything again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess that's actually a very good point to start out with, um, which is that when I think of good games, they are usually not that fun at the start,
Mm-hmm.
right? If that makes sense.
It does.
So, like,
I'm assuming you're exaggerating a little bit, right? Because obviously they're
yes, yes,
fun,
yes,
but it's more
like
like
they are fun.
you have issues with them, I would assume, like, or
Hmm.
whatever. Like there are things about how they like it's. I guess it's our favorite quote. It's frustrating, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, so it's like you're being frustrated by like how fucking hard something is or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like I've been playing Metal Slug a bit recently, um, and working on that 1cc,
Oof.
and the first like 3-4 levels are pretty easy in that game, but then the fifth and the sixth level, when I like started playing that game, I thought those levels were super hard and like impossible. I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do? There's so many enemies spawning everywhere. What the fuck? Like, please help. And then, like, as I played it more and more, I started to grasp how I was supposed to like attack the problem or whatever, and it seems way more like I still haven't once CC'd it, right, but it seems doable now, which it
Yeah.
didn't at the start, right?
Yeah.
um
But that's more of a difficulty thing, right? Because
yes.
like I would argue, and especially for run-based games, right?
Yeah.
The it's actually they become more interesting as you learn the layout of the stages, because
Hmm.
you sort of start to pick up on nuances of like, oh, this enemy is here and he does this thing or whatever, right? Whereas when you
Yeah.
start, it's basically like you're just reacting, right? So it's like, oh, there's enemies everywhere and I'm dying, right?
Hmm.
And it's not that interesting actually, right?
Yeah.
Because well, you haven't like built a mental model of the layout of the game or whatever, right, yet.
Hmm.
And so they become more fun the more you play them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think one game that I sort of thought of while you were explaining this so eloquently is Devil Daggers. Because, like, Devil Daggers does that very well, actually, because it doesn't explain anything to you at the start of the game. Like, there's no tutorial or anything. So you just spawn in. And for those of you that don't know how Devil Daggers works, you basically have spawners that spawn in and, like, move towards the center of the stage. and you decide when you kill the spawners, and the spawners spawn enemies that like give you gems that upgrade you. And so it has this like really interesting dynamic of like, okay, I want to keep the spawners alive for as long as possible so that they spawn as many enemies as possible so that I get as many gems as possible and I become like I get all the upgrades. But I also want to kill the spawners as fast as possible because there are fewer enemies on the map then and it's easier. And like when you start out playing Devil Daggers, you don't know any of that, right? Mm-hmm. You're just like, oh, there's a spawner here. I guess I kill it because I don't know what the spawner does. I don't know why I should keep it alive. I don't know that there's like this interesting secret layer hidden beneath, you know, surviving past 30 seconds or whatever. It's something that I know when I've played the game for a bit.
Yeah.
And so my point is that like Devil Daggers is actually not that interesting at the start, right? Because you're just like I guess it's kind of interesting in the novelty sense where you're like, oh, I wonder what this does, or I wonder how this works, you know? Because you're still figuring stuff out.
The thing is, I think that's your mind. I think maybe in Devil Daggers, because Devil Daggers has a really like good presentation, but most like the more, you know, I don't know what your word is, hardcore game. I don't, you know, more like run-based, skill-based games, right? I think most people react negatively to those things. I think it's because you're very open-minded. You're like, oh, interesting. Like you're seeing it as a like thing you will learn and understand later. Whereas I feel like most people don't.
Yeah.
And they get frustrated that it's not like the other games they've played or whatever.
Yeah. I actually want to go on like a completely unrelated tangent that's very related now that you say that.
Sure.
So, have you ever like... I know you have, so I'm not sure why I ask how you ever. But have you ever? Have you ever
Never.
watched a movie with someone and then there's like a new character on the screen and the person you're watching the movie with goes, "Who's that guy?"
No, I don't think
Never?
I have.
No. Okay.
Is that not... Maybe I'm just not remembering it. I don't know.
Yeah, because I thought that was a universal experience. Like people watching the movie and they're like, oh, here's this unexplained thing. I don't know what this is about, so I should ask. And it's like, I don't know who the guy is. Maybe watch the movie for 10 minutes and you'll know who the guy is in 10 minutes, right?
I don't think... maybe it has. Or maybe I just... like ignore what people say around me when I watch movies.
Yeah, maybe.
Like I turn off the brain.
Yeah, but I think that's like a perfect example of what you were talking about there. It's like, you know, they
want the answer before the...
Like especially if it's a confusing movie, like if it's a bit of a deeper movie, perhaps you could say. You know, I've had experiences where like I watch those kinds of movies with people who don't watch a lot of movies, and they go like, "Huh, why isn't this explained to me right away?" And I feel like that could be applied to games as well. But anyways, movie related tangent over. I just thought that was funny. That is a good point. I think that's true.
Maybe we should like go back to the initial statement a bit and like clarify sort of what kinds of stuff we mean more or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, I guess like one reason I wanted to bring up this, or like we wanted to bring up this, right, is that I think it's a good way to like, what am I trying to say? Sort of the way we look at games, right? I think if you're watching or listening to this podcast and you're like not quite getting at like our viewpoint, right? I think this the reason we think this mentality is so backwards helps with that, if that makes sense, right? Does it make sense?
You might have to explain that again because I didn't understand it.
Maybe I didn't make that very clear.
Yeah,
my point is, so like the thing is, right, some people say, oh man, I wish I could forget all of Dark Souls or something and I could experience it again, right?
Yeah.
And the way I view games, and I think you agree, is it is the like intrinsic value of having experienced that thing, right?
Yeah.
not the extrinsic experience of experiencing that game, right? Not saying it's not fun to play the game, right? But it's sort of a, like, having the experience is also valuable, right?
Yeah.
It's not just experiencing it.
Yeah, well, I think also, like, to be a bit more shallow, I just think good games are better when you are good at them in general.
Yeah.
Right, so...
Right, but you
I'm
could
gonna...
argue that someone enjoys learning it all over again, which there probably is people, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is something interesting to that. Like, just like I discussed with regards to Devil Daggers, right? There is something interesting with the, like, period where you're, like, discovering stuff and you don't really know what's going on and stuff like that. Like, I would say that that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I would say that it's more interesting to be really good at Devil Daggers.
Right, but my point is that the mindset of wanting to re-experience that experience doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I understand why people say it, because, but from my viewpoint of, like, how I look at games, I want to move on, right? So going backwards and, like, erasing the experience, right? Just to re-experience it, that seems very wasteful to me, right? Because the interesting thing is where I'm at now and where I can get next, right? In terms of, like, I don't know, like, multiple things, right? If we go in one axis, like skill, right? It's more interesting for me to go, like, if we take, I don't know, we take shmups, right? It's like, okay, I can beat this and this shmup, right? What can I beat next? Like, that's more interesting to me than, like, oh my god, this was the best shmup ever. I wish I could erase all the knowledge and be bad and play it again or something, right? That sort of doesn't work with the way I view games, right? I want to go higher, right? I don't want to go back down.
So you mean it more in a sense of, like, now that I have played this amazing game, I have become more enlightened.
Yes.
And now I want to become more enlightened by playing more games.
That's literally what I mean. So,
okay,
I have another comparison, right, to make this even more clear. If we take multiplayer games, for example, it makes even more sense, right? Because if you take Counter-Strike, for example, you will not see Counter-Strike professionals say, man, I wish I could forget everything I know about Counter-Strike and experience it for the first time again. It's like, no, it's like, it's more enjoyable for them because of all the things they know about the game, right?
Yeah. I was about to actually say the exact same example. Yeah, that's definitely, like, I think in general you don't see people who play competitive games think that way, right?
Yeah.
Because people, obviously, we've talked about this on the podcast before. Nowadays, in competitive multiplayer games, people seem to be very, very focused on the, like,
grinding for their skins,
rank grind or whatever,
the daily challenges.
Yeah, but you don't see,
shoot 5
like,
people in the foot.
Yeah, in a match and get the new skin.
Yeah, while 360 no scoping. Yeah, no. Whatever.
Sorry. But yeah, you don't see people who are, like, on that ranked grind, so to speak, say, man, I wish I like lost 10k elo in CS so that I could, like, go back to that time when I was that bad or whatever. Because everyone's, like, looking ahead. They're like, oh yeah, I want to get more elo. I want to become better. I want to get a higher rank.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, a lot of that is probably extrinsically motivated, right? They want the higher number. But I think, in general, when it comes to competitive games, people tend to want to be better. Like competitive multiplayer games.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you look at it from that perspective, like with CS, it makes no sense to be like, okay, I wish I was like, I lost like 5 years of experience in CS so that I was as bad as I was 5 years ago, because that would be so interesting.
Yeah.
Because it very obviously would not be so interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's more interesting to be good at the game. And the game becomes more interesting as you become better at it.
Yeah. But like, you can take that even further, right? Because you can sort of see, how to say this in not a mean way, right? But it sort of tells me what you view games as, right? If you say something like, "Oh, I wish I could just forget this game so I could experience it again," right? It's, I mean, the meanest way to say it is you're viewing it as a time waste, right?
Yeah.
That you're are doing for some reason, right?
Well, they could also be talking about Half-Life 2. And in that case, they would want to forget the game so that
they
the
never have to
2
play
hour
it
long
again.
intro section isn't as boring as the first time or whatever.
No, it's gonna be more boring.
My point is
that's
that
gonna
if
be
they
more boring the second time, not the first time.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. So if they forget it, it's not as boring. If they forget the game.
Yeah, I thought you were going with like so they don't have to ever experience it or something like that.
No. It's well, it doesn't make that much sense, anyways.
No.
Anyway, I just wanted to hate on Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, what did you say? Yeah. So exactly. Yeah, the mindset thing. I was gonna say something. Now I forgot.
I ruined it.
I got too lost in my Half-Life 2 joke thingy.
Yeah. I guess I can bring up something.
Yeah.
To this point, right? Which is that this actually, what do you say? Like trickles up or down. I don't know what direction, right? Into game design, right? Because I hear a lot of the time game designers talk about the value of the first playthrough or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Which is very I don't know what word, overrated. Overrated way of looking at it, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the first. There might be some games, but like I don't even think that's true. Like, I guess you could argue like a puzzle game, right? Because you've solved the puzzle, so you can't really play them again, right? But it's not. I wouldn't still want to, go back and having to relearn them or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think even with puzzle games, like if we go back to the thing about that you mentioned about like reaching enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's like, do I really want to forget a puzzle game that I've played? No. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to forget Steven Sausage Roll. I have played Steven Sausage Roll and it's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And like, I am like a better gamer, quote unquote, because I have played that game. And gamer. Like, I exactly. And I don't want to like regress as a gamer just in order to like experience that game again or whatever. Like from here I should try to experience even more hardcore stuff, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I guess I'm just reiterating what you said previously.
It does make sense. Yeah. But I guess that would still technically be the first playthrough, was my point. Like was the first playthrough mentality, right? Which is not exactly the same as wanting to forget it. It's a bit different, right?
Yeah.
But in general, most games are, if they are good, more fun the second and third time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think I'm gonna say something perhaps a bit controversial here. Once again about movies. I'm talking about movies today, not video games.
Yeah.
So
this is the movie archives.
Yes, I think that a good comparison would be to like compare it to a plot twist in a movie, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So like a plot twist isn't like I think I'm not saying that plot twists are inherently bad, right?
No, yeah.
But I do think that plot twists are generally overrated in movies because it seems like,
as a surprise element, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? It's like because it seems like a lot of people think that, if there's a plot twist, then the movie's good because it's like deep or something.
And it has to be a plot twist that no one knows in advance, right?
Exactly.
And that's how you measure if it's a good plot twist or not, which I don't agree with at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of my point. It's a very shallow way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
where it's like, oh yeah, I didn't expect this thing, so therefore the movie was good or whatever.
Yeah.
What actually matters is that the movie is deep or whatever.
I mean, if you're watching movies for a deep experience, obviously.
Yes,
if you're watching it to, for some other reason, then go ahead.
But my point is that, a deep movie doesn't need to have a plot twist, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like this kind of applies to games as well. And with puzzle games, maybe they are a bit more plot twist oriented, or whatever you want to call it, right? But as I said, plot twists aren't inherently bad, right? You can have a deep movie come from like a good deep plot twist or whatever. But my point is the like, what do you want to call it? Like the like putting the plot twist on the pedestal, I guess.
Yeah.
Is a decent way to put it. It's not good, I think. I think you should put the deep stuff on the pedestal, if that makes sense.
Well, a lot of people don't get to the deep stuff. That's maybe the issue. Yeah, and to be like nice to, I mean, I don't. Most puzzle people don't say that either, right? As we said with arcade people, right? I don't see a lot of, man, I wish I could forget Steven Sausage Roll so I could play it again.
Yeah, that's true. Although I do think puzzle game people are very like obsessed with the aha moment.
No, maybe the designers are, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know if the actual players are.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess.
I
mean, but
it's
very like
puzzle games is sort of the jazz genre of. So like what I mean is like the players are a lot of the time the designers, I guess.
Yeah. But I do think that especially when you play like some of these what I like to call easy but clever puzzle games. Like is a perfect example of that, where it's like it's very clear that when you play that game and you're solving a puzzle, it's very obvious that like, oh yeah, the designer wanted me to have an aha moment here, and it wasn't like super deep or super interesting or whatever, so it kind of ends up feeling a bit like. Yeah, it feels like a cheap plot twist in a movie, right? Is my point, I guess. But yeah, there was one thing I wanted to go back to talk about Counter-Strike yet again. You thought we were done for the day with Counter-Strike, but we were not.
Yeah.
Because I don't think like maybe we made it clear enough, but I want to rant anyways. So. I think I've told this story on the podcast before, which is that I actually played CS very casually until like a few years ago. And the thing that like got me to play it a bit more seriously, like I'm not pro by any means, but I play it a bit more seriously now than I did before. Was that I found like a good like video series from a guy who like actually explained the mechanics and like how to practice them and stuff. And I like started doing the practice stuff and I instantly got like way better at the game. And like that was what made me realize, holy crap, Counter-Strike is a good game. I want to play it a lot. It's super fun. It's super deep. It's super interesting or whatever. Like before that, I was like, yeah, Counter-Strike is kind of fun, in a casual way. But after that, I was like, holy shit, this is lit, as the kids say or whatever.
I don't think they do anymore.
No, probably not.
Probably like 20 years ago they did that.
Not 20, maybe like 5, 10. I don't
Definitely
know.
not 5.
Whatever. And so my point is that like, I guess we already made that point clear before. But my point is that like, it gets more fun as you get better at it, and I feel like, and also I think importantly perhaps is that it gets more fun the more you play it, right? And so this goes into like.
As long as the
replayability.
demand keeps up, right? Because if it does, like in a multiplayer game, the
Yeah,
demand is infinite, right? Because you have human opponents. But if you
Yeah.
keep like playing at the same difficulty level or whatever in single player games,
Yeah.
you'll like stagnate or whatever, and it will not be as interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
like I see that, like I'm gonna, what do you say, throw a, what do you say in English?
I don't know.
Say something mean about someone.
Okay, yeah.
So the shmup community, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they are way more serious than most people, like genre people, right? But
Yeah.
I do find it very, I mean, I was gonna say funny, but honestly depressing, that it is very common in my, from my experience, to see people being they play games, right, and they get to a sort of level where they can beat some games or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then because to me, right, the interesting thing about shmups is that they are so like we talked about last time, right? It's not very mechanically complex. It's just like lots of stuff going on. So you can go, like, it's very easy to go very deep in terms of difficulty and complexity, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people plateau, or whatever, right? They find some level where they're like, okay, this is the level I want to get to, and then they start looking for like mechanical stuff instead. So it's like, oh, this game is interesting because it has these like interesting cancels, or these right, all this weird
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and like these weird weapons and whatever, and like all of that stuff to me, right, it's super uninteresting, because the interesting thing about, like, otherwise I could just play another genre, right? If I want to play a mechanics slop game, I can go play whatever game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like the interesting thing is, uh, I'm being a bit unfair to call these games mechanics slop, right? But you know what I mean. Like they're it's sort of this. Bogo talks about this all the time. Bogo, that was on the show, right? Where like there's this sort of defeatist mentality among the designers and the players, where it's like, well, everyone has already done everything, so now we just do
Mm-hmm.
these tiny like gimmicky things or whatever, right? And it's like, no, just like move the skill ceiling for fuck's sake,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just do something like even more, because like the interesting stuff to me, like, and I'm gonna bring up Bob again, right? He says this all the time. Like, no one started playing shmups because they like saw this cool novice mode or whatever. No, they saw
Mm-hmm.
fucking Larsa or whatever in Mushihime Sama Futari or whatever, right? The
Yeah.
fucking screen covered in bullets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that's what's cool, right? So can we take
Yeah.
that to the how does that look even further, right? That's the cool shit, not this
Mm-hmm.
stupid gimmick. So that was sort of off topic, sorry, but I just had to bring that up.
No, but I get where you're coming from, I guess. Yeah. But I guess it's like if you look at something, I was thinking while you were talking about Pragmata, I feel like that's sort
Yep.
of, I guess, a more shallow version of what you're talking
Yes.
about, where it's like you're taking this like generic third person action Uncharted gameplay and you're slapping this kids puzzle game on top of
Yeah.
it, and now it's like this genius level design masterpiece or whatever. And it's like, okay, but it would have been way more interesting if you instead either made an adults puzzle game or you made an actually good third person shooter. Um,
Yeah, and in that case, you can even see all the like compromises of like, oh, it's frustrating to focus on both of them at once. You can like pause the puzzle in the middle.
mhm.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
noticed that, because you
yeah, yeah.
like you only saw it, right? Where you can like you can do half the puzzle, close it, move 5 meters, and then open it and do the rest.
Yeah.
It's like it's so dumb, the game. It's so dumb.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's essentially the same thing, and I think uh, this mindset comes, I guess, from this. Um, Well, I guess it all boils down to what we usually complain about on this podcast, which is novelty, right? That's what people are looking for. And that is why this, like, forget it to experience it again mindset is so popular, I think, because it boils down to novelty. It's I really enjoy the novelty of experiencing this game for the first time, so I want to forget it so that I can enjoy the novelty of experiencing it again.
Yeah. But
I think I said again too many times, but whatever.
Ironically, though, I don't think they actually want that. They just say that because, like,
yeah, what you want to
say? I mean, they sort of want that, but it goes back to what I said about shmups. But like a better example, I can come up with two, but like let's take the more recent one first, right? So right now, I guess maybe it's over now, but they're still coming out. Souls-likes, right? And Souls-like combat, right? You know, roll, iframe rolls, parries, all of that. That is super duper common, right?
Yep.
Why is that? Well, one reason could be because it's an established skill set, right? We've talked about that before, right? People know how these mechanics work. So they're sort of acknowledging or not acknowledging. They are the thing we're talking about, right? Where they're valuing the skill set they have the enlightenment they have gotten, right?
Yeah.
They value that, but the problem is they forgot. Like they struggled the first time, probably, right? And they've sort of gotten that the nice part is getting past that or whatever, right? And then they plateau, and then it's like now they're just looking for novelty, right? Again, right?
Yeah.
But if they just focus that energy, right, to keep going, right, then they could do more interesting things, right? But my point is also that's why you see so many Souls-likes, right? Because it's still elevated from, like, you know, nothing slop, right? It's a more interesting space, right? Because there is some sort of, like, whatever you want to call it, skill expression, whatever you want to call it, right? So there's mechanics there, right? Even if they're not always the most complex, right? And another genre that is way older that we can bring up, which people don't even think about, right? Because it's funny how far the skill ceiling of that genre has gotten, and people don't seem to notice it, which is FPS, right? So, like, even like compared to other genres, the like the skill bottom of FPS games is like really high, right?
Yeah.
Comparing, you know, to other genres where, like, maybe that's because they're like most of the old ones are competitive or something. So it's gotten boosted by the fact that people are playing each other. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, probably like partly that it's like a lot of multiplayer, as you say, but then also I guess it's the like most generic genre or whatever. Like, I think also maybe there's something intuitive to the FPS.
But that's my point. I don't think there is. I think it's just so established.
Maybe, yeah.
Right.
Because I'm thinking, like, if you show someone an FPS, like someone who's never played a game before,
Yeah.
if you show them an FPS compared to like showing them an RTS, I think the FPS is going to be way more intuitive.
Yeah, well, that's because you control one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
My point is, I'm not sure Dark Souls is less intuitive than Counter-Strike, for example. If you've never played a video game.
Yeah, sure.
But I think because, and I think if you ask, I mean, especially like where we are, right? It's uber, you know, established, right? FPS is like the genre of Sweden or whatever.
It's the national genre.
It's the national genre, exactly. So like for us, obviously, it's like, well, yeah, obviously you know how to aim with a mouse, right?
Yeah.
But I think if you look in other places, it's more like, you know, more console. What do you say? Console-oriented.
Yeah.
Regions. I think they struggle more with the idea of aiming with a mouse, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that's true. To some extent, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I find interesting with the Dark Souls example, and I guess it's sort of similar to what you said about shmups as well, right? Because you mentioned that about like plateauing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's that obviously like FromSoft are the original Souls-like guys, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's
And
probably
then
some asshole that's gonna be like, actually, someone,
yeah,
but
they were inspired by this other guy
yeah,
who did something.
yeah,
My point is that they are the ones that like popularized
yeah.
it. And what's really interesting is that if you look at like other Souls likes,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't actually seem like they are doing anything further with the Souls like genre. They're just
No,
doing
yeah.
the thing that you mentioned where they're like adding side stuff. Like they're adding mechanics onto the side of it. They're not like exploring the depth of the
Yep.
already established mechanics. And I think especially as like parry-based Souls-likes have become more common, like Sekiro and stuff like that, they have become even more shallow with time.
Yeah.
Which I find really interesting. But maybe that's, now that I think of it, related to like why Souls-likes have become so big. Like because they have become so big, the like need for the parry mechanic to be there has like increased or whatever, if that makes sense, to like help new players.
Yeah, for sure. Probably. But the reason the genre is big is because the established skill set is there, right?
Yes,
There
of
is an
course.
established base of people that know how to
Mm-hmm.
play these games in quotation marks, right?
Yeah.
But it's also funny because, like, sure, Elden Ring's world structure is fucking garbage, right? But if we're talking enemy design, we talked about this last time as well, right? They are actually sort of pushing it, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the DLC, I've heard, right? And I've seen some of they look really fucking fun. I should play that at some point, the DLC. But again, the world structure is ass, so fuck that game. Maybe I should just like buy the DLC and play like a boss rush mod or something, because I know there is stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's probably more fun than playing the fucking open world. But that was not my point. My point was that like they are sort of pushing, with the movesets. We talked about that last time, where they're doing these like, weird moves to like subvert your expectations and stuff, right? Which is pushing on the limit. But people are pushing back, right? As usual. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I am a Souls veteran. I have played all the games, and this one is too hard. I can whatever.
Yeah.
I have the knowledge. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Yeah,
how we
that's
ended up
actually
here,
really
but
funny.
yeah.
That's actually really funny because I've been playing Snakebird recently, the puzzle game, and that puzzle game is pretty hard, even compared to like other puzzle games. Like I don't think it's Steven Sausage Roll hard, but it's pretty hard. And like if you look at the Steam reviews for that game, it's the same thing there. It's like I've played all of these difficult puzzle games, and even I think this is too hard.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But,
I am the authority of puzzle games.
But yeah, maybe we've gone on a bit of a tangent here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go back to our original point, which I guess is sort of replayability, because I wanted to talk about replayability in specific.
Yeah.
In
I want
particular.
to mention one more thing before we go there.
Yes.
So I don't remember when. Maybe you remember. Like I finished. I got the 1cc of Mushihime-sama Maniac, and then I was gonna play the sequel, Mushihime-sama Futari.
Yeah.
And just like we said here, right? My initial, like when I launched that game, my initial reaction was not, wow, this game is amazing. My initial, I mean, whatever. Like, my initial reaction was like, this is not like the original, right? I'm not saying that's necessarily bad, right? I'm just saying that's the initial reaction, right? Yeah. And to me, maybe in this case, it's not that the second one is gonna... I'm probably gonna like the first one better in this case for other reasons, right? But in general, the idea that things are not as they were. What am I trying to say? Like that sort of first impression. Where am I going with this? Like it's not that I disliked it, right? That's not what I'm saying. Like it was still fun. It was just like you could tell because I had been playing the first one, right? So I had gotten to the point where it's more fun because like, oh, I know on stage 3 there's this bug that you kill and that's fun or whatever, right? And then you play this new one and it's like, hang on, I don't understand anything because like all the maps are new and the graphics look different. You know what I mean, right? It's sort of like very alien, right, to you.
Yeah.
And so it's actually less fun. And going back to our point, right? The sequel is actually less fun than the original currently because I don't know anything about the sequel, right? Which is counterintuitive to how I guess you're supposed to view this, right? It's like, look, the sequel is the new, it's the fun, right?
Yeah.
You haven't seen this.
It has
before.
more mechanics.
You haven't seen it before, right? But to me, it's like, no, like I actually don't like this as much because I know the layout of the first one and I like stuff in the first one, right? I don't like what the sequel is. I mean, in this case, it might also be some, mechanical stuff, but that doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is that this like I think what I'm trying to get at is this sort of this appreciating what you have mentality. That sounds so pretentious. Oh my god. But I guess it's like you know how you're supposed to like buy new phone, buy new whatever, right? New stuff all the time, right? And I feel like it's the same with game. It's like, oh no, new game, right? And it's like, well, hang on, like I actually that old one I kind of like them. I want to play that one instead. I don't know where.
Yeah. No, I guess like to sort of clarify your point, or
do.
perhaps ask for clarification.
Yeah, do that.
When you say that you think the new one is less fun, you're not saying that in a exactly. You're not saying that in a like this game is worse way. You're saying it in a I don't understand what the fuck is going on, so I don't think it's as fun as when I understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. And I think that's I mean that makes sense. It goes back to what we said in the start about like frustration and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like I am frustrated because I don't understand anything, but then like when you understand it, you're not frustrated anymore, and all of a sudden it's like super interesting and you love the game and whatever.
Yeah. Now in this case, to ruin my point, in this case, it might change over time, but in this case, I think that I will like the original more because they're leaning into a lot of the mechanics of the first one that I didn't like more, right?
Yeah.
So I might like it less for that reason, but I it's not like I won't like it, right? It's still fucking epic. Like all of the fucking cave games are insanely good. I don't know why. It's so crazy to me that it's so. I mean, I guess the Japanese know about it, but like, why does no one like talk about? I don't know. Like it's so weird. They're like all of their games basically almost are fucking really cool and interesting.
Yeah.
And then no one like even. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Rant again.
Well, there was one point before I move on to replayability, because I said I would move on to replayability like 5 minutes ago. But one more point, I promise, which is related to music. Because I do listen to quite a bit of music, and one thing that I've noticed, and like what you talked about now, like made me think of this, is like. When I like listen to a new album, usually the songs that like get me into the album don't end up being the songs that I actually like the most when I like the album or when I love the album. Like when I listen to the album the first time, like I usually like listen to, or well, I listen to all the songs in the album, but most of my like, oh yeah, I really like this song. Like this song is really catchy or whatever. it's usually towards the more, shallow but catchy songs or whatever. And then as I listen to the album over and over again, and initially I'm listening for those like catchy songs, but then as I listen to the album more and more, I'm actually staying for like the not so catchy ones.
Yeah.
And when I've been listening to the album for a year, I'll actually think the catchy songs that got me listening to the album at first are pretty boring.
Yeah.
Or like slightly less fun if it's a very good album, right?
This is also one of the reasons why you should listen to albums and not singles, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% agree. And I think most like music nerds would agree on this point.
Yeah.
Like album listening is superior to like putting your favorite songs on the playlist or whatever, because it's a shallow way to listen to music.
It's also more interesting because like you're experiencing more of like that artist's, like it's not like, oh, this hit song by this one, artist. It's like you're getting like all of the, you're getting to experience more of the same band or artist or whatever, right?
Yeah. And my point is, I guess, with this tangent into music, is that I think this is also true for video games. And I think like this is, I think mainly this is maybe true. Well, I get whatever. I'm just gonna say what I say, and then I'll correct myself afterwards because I don't quite know how to say this. So, like, I think this is true, like within a single game. Like the reason that I play, like the reason that I get into a game are not the same reasons that I keep playing that game after I've gotten into it. Right, if that makes sense. So, like, CS is a perfect example of that. Like, the reason I got into CS was because, like, I liked FPS games and I wanted to have a game where I could shoot or whatever. But like now that I actually know CS and I understand it pretty deeply, it's like, okay, there's actually so many like deep things that are not the initial reasons why I got into CS or whatever.
But wouldn't you? Because like that is sort of the thing we're arguing for a lot. I feel like that being more aware, right, about like playing intentionally, you can sort of pick out things on a more meta level, I guess, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, what I mean is like in this, because you started playing CS a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
But if, for example, if you played a game today, you could be more like I don't know. Let's say you know that you're not gonna like it initially, but you know you're gonna like it later or something because you understand stuff about how you play, like how you experience games that makes you able to do it that way. Whereas I feel like a lot of people still don't reason that way. It's like they start playing it and they die and then they go, hang on, that was not, I didn't get anything immediately. Where's my meta progression? Right?
Yeah.
So point to it. That was a bit.
I guess what you're saying is that like when I started playing CS, I was not as much of a hardcore gamer, and so I like didn't look at it. I looked at it in a way more shallow way than I would have if I started playing CS today.
Yeah, or maybe not hardcore gamer, more like I would say like game designer minded, right? Because like you're
sure.
Like I would argue because like I think way more about that stuff these days, right? When I play games, it's like, oh wow, this is fucking dumb, or like, oh, this is really interesting, right? You need to be careful, obviously, right? Because you'll end up being one of those video essayists, right? If you take that too far. But
where it's like, based on this principle, this is actually bad design,
or something. Yeah.
But it's fun though.
Yeah, exactly. you need to. It needs some balance.
Yeah, but my point is not only that. I also think it's like if you look at like let's say you look at your favorite game or whatever. It's like if you look at the games that sort of that game, like the games that influenced that game, you'll often see that like the games that influenced the game you really liked also have these like things in them that you really like, but maybe they're not presented in as flashy of a way or whatever. But if you go into them and play them, you'll notice that, oh yeah, this is actually really interesting as well, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where the like album comparison kind of makes sense, where it's like,
yeah, they're like use
maybe it
surface
doesn't make
level.
complete
No, it
sense.
does make sense because like you can take it more extreme, right? This is sort of my point, right? If you take Dark Souls again, we go back. Let's go back to Dark Souls. As always, Dark Souls is such a good game to use as an example. It has a lot of extrinsic rewards, right? RPG mechanics and stuff that actually undermine or whatever the core. But I think it helps. It's sort of this catchy song, right? It's like getting you into it, but then there's actually some depth under it. Yeah. And this goes back to my point, where it's like, because you're engaging with games more like analytically, I guess, right? You can say, hang on a minute, I don't need that meta stuff. I'll just play the game that does the Souls thing and, you know, get to the good stuff. And so, right? So you like skip that part. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty good way to.
I mean, obviously, the catchy song in the album might not be as bad as meta progression in Dark Souls, right? I'm just saying it's sort of the similar idea where like that might be like the thing, or like the open world. It's like, oh my god, you can go anywhere, but when you come there for the open world and the RPG, but you actually stay for the interesting gameplay, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is a lot of like modern. Like successful modern style games, right? If they're not just slop, mindless addictions shit, right? If there are actually some depth there, a lot of the time, like the really successful ones have some sort of thing like this, right? Where it's like they have a hook thing that's actually not interesting at all, but it makes people go there, and then they stay for something else, right? Because
I mean, another really good example of this would be Silksong from last year, right? Where like the enemy design and boss design and combat in that game is really, really, really good. And then they have like this Metroidvania exploration, punch all the walls to see if one of them is a hidden wall, kind of bullshit that people love.
Or at least
and I also think, I also think, like, to give credit to Dark Souls, I think actually this is one thing that, like, Dark Souls is underrated for in a way, I guess. Which is that I think Dark Souls actually has had a positive impact in this way. Where it's like introduced people into like actually gameplay focused games.
100%, yeah.
Which I don't think gets acknowledged a lot of the times by people who are into gameplay heavy games. Yeah. They're like, oh yeah, Dark Souls, it's that like game with RPG mechanics. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But like it also introduced like half the people who play serious games to serious games, right? And so from that perspective, it's very valuable. And that's, the analogy of the catchy song. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Dark Souls is the catchy song that like makes you listen to the 12-minute like slow whatever on the album that you hated the first time, and then you're like, wait, this is actually really good. But yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is this, because like obviously it's fine to have some hooks or whatever, but because everything is so focused on popularity, this thing gets over focused on, right? In most things it's like, oh, how do I make people play it, instead of like, how do I make it good? Right? Because they use like, well, they already established the mechanics, it's a Souls-like or whatever, right? But how do I make people play my Souls-like? It's like, no, you should make a good Souls-like.
It goes it goes back to the shmup thing you talked about before, right? Where it's like, now people started playing shmups, and now they want shmups with gimmicks, because they don't want to actually experience shmups deeper or whatever.
Like my favorite, not favorite, that's the wrong word, like my most hated quote, right? It's like, oh, why should I play this game over the other one? And it's like, that's, I mean, now that I say it, it's not that dumb, but like the way it's used, right? is like, what's the gimmick, right? What's the
Yeah,
catch?
exactly.
All right, but like the reason you should play this is because it's interesting in some way.
Yeah.
Oh my
or
god,
like...
I am explaining this poorly.
No, but I get what you mean. I think another good example is like the elevator pitch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, the
Where it's
elevator
like,
pitches
oh yeah,
are
give me an
ass.
elevator
Oh
pitch
my
of your
God, yeah.
game. And it's always some like really shallow stuff like, oh yeah, this is a really interesting genre blend between farming sims and Final Fight or whatever the example we used when we talked about that.
And it's so funny actually because like if you compare that to music, right?
Yeah.
Maybe actually now that I say that, music people probably do this on in the serious business, and maybe that's part of why music sucks. I don't know, but like to me it sounds crazy to be like, okay, what's your elevator pitch for this song?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, fucking listen to it. Is it good or not? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I think to be fair to music, I think people are more, I don't want to say against that sort of stuff, but they're more like, how would you say, like, I think people realize that a song can be like a generic rock song and be like a really good generic rock song. And then a song can be like a really gimmicky rock song or whatever, and it can be a really bad rock song, right? So it's like, whereas with games, I don't think people realize that quite as much.
Yeah, well,
They're
like the thing, you could, if you want to take it on a like technical level or whatever, like the thing you could find interesting, I guess, is like what they're doing with what is there, right? So it's like, okay, they are, and you're making the rules yourself, right? So you said, okay, generic rock, right? Okay, and like, why is this generic rock song interesting? Like, it's not. It goes back to an argument we made a long while back, where it's like, it's not a more interesting rock song because they used a better guitar synthesizer or whatever, right? It's a better rock song because of what they did with the chords and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's the songwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, and the game thing here is, right, it's like, it's not about how do I make a jazz rock song or whatever, or pop rock song or whatever. It's how do you make the generic rock song that's really good.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And one way to do that is obviously raising the skill ceiling, right? It does, like, you don't necessarily have to do that, I think. I guess you that's not true. You always have to do it, but no. Yeah, what I mean is you don't have to like flat raise the skill ceiling, right? It could be yeah. It's hard, right? Because it's sort of this thing where like if something is obviously just trying to be something else, right? It's not gonna be that interesting, right?
Yeah.
But it can, like, it can't be that thing but with a twist or whatever. That doesn't work. So you need to like elevate it somehow. And I think that's basically taste, right? It's sort of this thing where it's like, but then I say that and it's like, sounds dumb. Like the example we did was that, you know, when we talked about Jonathan Blow, right? And we talked about like, oh, he was playing Arch Totalis, right? And it's like he made The Witness, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of that thing again, right? Where it's like you wanna extrapolate on parts, right? You don't wanna. We've already talked about this. Our viewers already know all of this, so it's fine. We don't need to explain it.
Yeah. For those of you that haven't seen the video, you'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. Perhaps this is the time where we go back to talking about the topic, which I promised we would do like 30 minutes ago. Yeah. But then I was like, one more quick tangent. And then you were like, one more quick tangent. And then I was like, one more quick tangent. Classic. So, replayability. I think on the podcast we usually say, and I would say that this is still true, that you shouldn't design for replayability.
Mm-hmm.
And what we usually mean when we say that is content replayability in particular. So this is something that's like you see especially commonly with roguelikes and stuff like that, where it's like, oh yeah, we made all the levels randomized so that you can play the game forever because it's so fun when the levels are randomized and it's always new and it's always exciting or whatever.
Never is though, that's the funny part.
Yeah, and exactly. In my opinion, and probably in yours as well, that kind of quote-unquote replayability is pointless because it isn't actually replayability. It sort of goes back to the novelty thing. It's novelty, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the level is different every time. How novel, right?
It works to a point, but like I can see the argument for some content replayability, but I personally don't care.
I mean,
I have a good example, so you're clear on what I mean. Like, for example, in a shmup, right?
Yeah.
A lot of shmups have like multiple selectable ships, right? And if you ask me, like, I don't really care. I pick one and then I play the game. But like, I could see the argument for like, well, maybe it's like sort of interesting because maybe they play very differently, and you know, like if they're actually well-designed ships, right? Maybe it's like actually interesting to play for score with them differently or something. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So then you sort of get more, like you get to go in different directions, like in your skill journey or whatever. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, well, I think also, like, to clarify, I don't think that games should be like completely static from run to run if it's a run-based game, right? So like some randomization of, like, for example, enemy spawns or stuff like that is good.
Yeah, that's not variety though. That's different, right? Because the random thing in a roguelike style game, that's for variety, right? It's like, oh look, it's new. The randomization of, like, if you randomize, say, the spread of a bullet hell pattern or like the spawn of an enemy in a platformer, that creates what we usually refer to as chaos, right? So it causes unpredictability in the run. Yeah. Which makes you have to, like, your strategy more interesting.
Yeah, like you need to adapt on the fly.
Yeah, but it's actually not variety technically, right? It's just because, like, if you have a roguelike, it could still be flat. It could just be like, oh, it's route A, I do A. It's route B, I do B, right? Whereas if you had chaos, it's like you need to play more carefully. Like, a simpler example of this, I don't remember. I think it was the first Hollow Knight where someone there's like some random stuff in there. I don't remember if that's correct. But like, if you have a boss, right? If you like randomize timings on the boss, that's gonna, you know, doesn't make it a random boss. It makes it just a more interesting fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think one thing that's important to point out about the, like, roguelike content style replayability is that usually what ends up happening is that since these games are designed around the levels being randomized, they're usually designed in a way where the level doesn't actually matter that much.
Yeah, there are exceptions though.
Yeah, of course. I think Spelunky is one very good exception, for example. Although those levels are kind of designed and then randomized together, right? But yeah, usually what you end up seeing in roguelikes is that, you know...
Yeah. I mean, you could probably argue that you could make Spelunky not maybe static levels, but not like a roguelike and just very, like, chaotic. And it would still be interesting, because the thing about that game is, like, the unpredictability is really important.
Yeah, well, I think Spelunky is actually a really good example of one of few games who, like, benefit from content replayability, because I think the mechanics themselves are actually pretty static.
Yeah,
like, the game is very if you do if you had the exact same level all the time, you could
very
just do the same
knowledge-based,
stuff all
right?
the time.
It's like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know that this thing kills me in this way, so. But
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, what happens if it's on the edge with this and that, and then this thing? Oh, I bounce on it and I land on spikes and I die.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that.
Exactly. So like in that sense, Spelunky is maybe more similar to like a puzzle game, like we talked
Yeah.
about before. Although I wouldn't call it a puzzle game, but like in the sort of way that the level design works or whatever. But yeah, what you usually see with a lot of these roguelikes is that the level actually doesn't matter at all. Sorry, like the encounter doesn't matter at all. It's just there to be like fodder for you to get through the meta progression stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
Or not the meta progression stuff even, like the progression in the run. And I guess my second point with this replayability thing is that we're saying that you shouldn't design for replayability, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we've been discussing for like the last hour or so how like you shouldn't care at all about the first playthrough. Aren't we like contradicting ourselves or whatever? No, here's the plot twist. Whoa, we're tying this episode together so well. We talked about plot twists before, and now there's a plot twist at the end.
Does
The
this
plot
mean
twist
this episode is garbage?
No, it means that it's
Generic?
fuck, you're right. No, I said in the beginning that plot twists are objectively
Yeah.
bad. So yeah, no. Here's the plot twist. If your game is deep, it becomes inherently replayable. That's our point. If you make a deep game, it's gonna be fun to play over and over and over and over again. And you're gonna get better at it all the time, and you're not going to want to forget it. Because you have been, as you said in the beginning, Edward, you have been enlightened, and you don't want to be unenlightened. You want to keep enlightening yourself.
Yeah. I don't... I'm not sure you... Like, because in a lot of games you will hit the limit, right? So
Yeah.
a puzzle game, the limit is basically one playthrough.
Mhm.
And like a shmup, you could argue it's like, well, I got the highest score on the scoreboard and didn't die or something, right? And if you hit that, you have sort of hit the like replay limit, right?
Yeah.
And unless you're playing humans, there is a replay limit, to be very clear, at least in my opinion. But it's not one playthrough.
Exactly.
Yeah. Unless it's, I guess, a puzzle game, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did we miss any points? Did you have anything you wanted to bring up before we leave our viewers who just had their mind blown by the plot twist?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully it was somewhat comprehensible. I feel like we should have touched a bit more on like the bad examples, I guess. But I couldn't come up with any more.
The bad examples? What do you mean?
Well, like sort of making. I think people understand. Hopefully, people understand. As I always say, our listeners are smart, so they probably did understand.
Mm-hmm.
But like they'll forget the initial quote, right? They forget to experience it again, right? I feel like we didn't quite make it clear, like that part, I guess. Yeah.
Well, The Witcher 3. I want to forget it to experience it again. Wasn't that a good example?
Yeah, no, it is. I don't know what more we could have said. I think hopefully people understand.
Yeah, I think it's like a quote you generally see around the block or whatever.
Because okay, I want to say one more thing about it, right? Because it's like it's not. I know I said this, but it's like a fundamental. Not fundamental. That's not the right word in English. Like it's a mentality thing, right? It's this. It's sort of this. I think it goes maybe partly. I said this before the show, and we weren't. It wasn't a perfect analogy, right? But like it's sort of escapism, kinda, right? Where it's the same with movies. It's like, oh my god, I want to watch this show again, and I haven't seen like if I haven't seen it before or something, right? Or I want to play this game like I haven't played it before, and it's just like I don't think. I don't think like that. Yes. Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
Like I don't want I don't want to wait because like okay, if you say that unless I'm missing something, doesn't that imply that you're saying that's a waste of time and
Mhm.
you just want to waste some more time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it basically does, yeah.
Yeah. And sort of that's my problem with the statement, I guess, that I couldn't clarify before, right? Because
Mhm.
it sort of
I
tells
guess
me
if you
you
wanna,
don't care about the like you don't care about if it's a movie or uh, which is fine, by the way. You don't have to care, right? I'm just saying like
Mhm.
it because like maybe you watch movies to just waste some time, right? Maybe that is literally why you do
Yeah,
it, right? That's fine. But my point is because I care about games, I can't take that opinion seriously, right? Because it's not like you're telling me you don't like games, you just want to waste some time and then
yeah,
wish you could do that again.
yeah.
Right?
I mean, to make an analogy to music once again, you don't see like really good piano players say, "Man, I wish I could go back to the time I sucked at playing piano."
Yeah.
Um, I guess that's sort of your point. It's like you want to be a good piano player. You don't want to be a bad piano player. That's pointless.
Yeah. But like
Um,
it goes for movies as well, right? It's like
mhm.
if I think about again, I'm not very deep movie or like I'm not the most. I haven't watched a lot of really good movies. Is my point, right?
Mhm.
But like if I think of movies that I really enjoyed, it's not movies that I would want to not have seen and see again.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
Yeah,
It's sort of more interesting to have seen them,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, they're like more interesting the more you think about them
Yeah,
as well,
because it's like
right?
it actually, made you it sort of goes to like one way I like to view art in general, which is that it's it's an indirect way to I don't like to use the word tell a message, but it's in an indirect way to tell a message, right?
Mhm.
So like it's more clear in a movie, right, where or a book where there is an author or a director or whatever that's they're trying to convey some sort of message in quotation marks, right? I don't like message
Mhm.
because then the Swedish
Yeah, it makes
teacher
it sound like a moral in the story or
Swedish teacher
whatever.
comes and tells you to write an essay about the moral of the story or
Yeah.
whatever. That's not my point. My point is like it's something that they have observed, like realized about the world or whatever, that they want to convey to you, but
Mhm.
if they try in words, they fail, right?
Yeah.
Uh, like maybe they could do it in words, but it's harder or whatever. But a lot of the time, it's like, look, it's easier to show you this like scenario to make you
Yeah.
understand sort of what I'm getting at, right?
Mhm.
And I think about games the same way, right? It's just
Mhm.
more. It's more like music, right? It's not like sure the way that art part thingy is in movies and books is also abstract, but like music and games are even more abstract in that way,
Yeah.
right? Where like the message again in the quotation marks is not really like it's even more abstract, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh boy.
it's like I would say that music and games are very similar in the sense that they are non-verbal,
Yeah.
right? And
Although the
I would
music has
argue that
lyrics
the
sometimes, and games
yeah,
has stories
well,
sometimes.
yeah, but that like I mean, if you listen to us talk about games,
Yeah.
the like words don't really matter as much. And I think if you talk to someone who listens to a lot of music, they will probably say something similar,
Yeah.
right? It's like, if you listen to someone who listens to like crazy jazz or whatever, he probably doesn't care about the lyrics that
Yeah.
much. Um,
But it
but yeah,
can add to the
it's like,
experience, though. To be clear,
yeah, of course.
sometimes it's actually
Uh,
very important. Even like
yeah.
not necessarily the words. It's just whatever. Who cares?
Hmm. Yeah, but my point is that the message is not necessarily verbal either,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
If that makes sense. It's like super
Yeah,
abstract.
yeah, yeah.
but yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now
Yeah,
I'm ready
I
to
think
end the episode. Now I feel
yeah.
better.
I
I
think
made it
we
more
we
clear,
explained.
or I made it less
Yes.
clear. Actually, it was very like rambly and weird.
But it
But
was
it was the thing I
super
needed to
deep or
add.
whatever. Yes. So yeah. thanks for listening to this week's episode. Don't forget to do the like and the subscribe and the comment and stuff like that. And we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye bye.